Dr. Dawson, have you thought any more about what I asked you? This overseas fellowship is a rare opportunity. The hospital values you, which is why we're recommending you and Dr. Donovan to go together. He's already decided to go. What about you? Clara Dawson looked down, silent. Director Evans continued, I know your fiancé is the CEO of the Marshall Group, but you should have your own career. A man's heart, can change at any moment. Dr. Dawson, I just don't want to see you waste your talent. A man's heart can change? Clara smiled faintly. Yes, it could, and Julian's already had. When is the departure date? You've agreed. Director Evans's face lit up. Departure is on the 1st of next month. Clara glanced at the calendar. Today was the 20th, which meant she only had 10 days left. All right, I'll do it. I'll go for the fellowship. Dr. Dawson, you're going abroad. A colleague stopped her as she left the director's office. Aren't you about to marry Julian Marshall? You're leaving right after the wedding. Long-distance relationships are tough. No, Clara said. I'm not marrying Julian Marshall anymore. Just yesterday, she had been at a bridal shop with Julian, trying on wedding gowns. He had taken a call and left without a second thought, not even a word to her. She'd assumed it was an emergency and had followed him. But the moment she saw Julian kneeling to gently apply a bandage to the knee of his new secretary, Leela Hayes, Clara had made her decision. She would not marry Julian Marshall. When he came home, Julian had apologized, promising it would never happen again. But they never found the time to reschedule their wedding photo shoot. And now, there was no need. In their 7th year together, under pressure from their families, he had finally proposed. She thought their love story, which had started in high school, was finally reaching its happy conclusion. But that fluttering heart had been drowned in the river of time. Leaving the hospital, Clara walked distractedly down the street. The traffic light turned red, but she didn't notice, stepping into the road and getting knocked to the ground by a car. The driver scrambled out, panicked. Are you okay? What's wrong with you? Can't you see the red light? If you've got a death wish, don't do it under my wheels, I'm fine. Her ankle was just sprained. She couldn't get up. Clara pulled out her phone and called Julian. Julian, I've been in a car accident. I'm busy right now. Whatever it is, we'll talk later. Before she could finish, he had hung up. Clara bit her lip and struggled to her feet. It was dark by the time she got home. She called Julian again. No answer. It wasn't until a colleague called her. Clara, you need to get to the hospital. Julian got into a fight and was brought in. Clara's heart tightened. She limped her way back to the hospital. Before she even reached the room, she could hear a woman sobbing from inside. I'm so sorry, Mr. Marshall. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have gotten hurt. How could it be your fault? Julian's forehead was bandaged. Those guys were harassing you. It was only right for me to step in. You should stay away from places like that bar. It's dangerous for a young woman like you. I didn't want to go, really. My friends insisted. His new secretary, Leela, sobbed, her tears making her look even more pitiable. Mr. Marshall, please don't be so reckless trying to protect me next time. If something really happened to you, I'd feel guilty for the rest of my life. Seeing her cry, Julian couldn't help but reach out and wipe a tear from the corner of her eye. Silly girl. I told you I'm fine. Don't cry. Clara stood in the doorway, her mind a complete blank. They were so absorbed in their own world that neither of them noticed her, and she finally understood what Julian's busy meant. She gets into a car accident and he doesn't care. Leela gets harassed and he's willing to risk his life for her. Clara stood frozen, the blood in her veins turning to ice. Finally, someone called out, Dr. Dawson, you're here. Julian saw her and immediately pulled his hand back from Leela's face. Clara, Leela was being harassed. She called me, so I went to help, that's all. Leela shot up, her voice laced with panic. Dr. Dawson, I'm so sorry. Mr. Marshall only got hurt because of me. I'm so sorry for worrying you. Seeing the flash of guilt in Julian's eyes, Clara just nodded and glanced at the report in the nurse's hand. You're fine. It's just a minor injury. You can be discharged. With that, Clara turned to leave. Julian called after her, Aren't you going to take me home? Mr. Marshall, let me take you home. After all, you were injured saving me. Clara's spine stiffened. A bitter smile touched her lips. Right now, Leela sounded more like his girlfriend than she did. Before she could answer, Julian had already agreed to Leela's offer. All right, it's about time you learned to take some responsibility. Taking you home isn't a chore. Leela stuck her tongue out at him, and Julian reached out, tapping her forehead affectionately. I can never win with you. Just remember, if you go to places like that again, make sure you're with someone. With who? With you, Mr. Marshall? They flirted back and forth as if Clara wasn't even there. She watched Julian's actions, her dark eyes unblinking. She turned and limped away. What happened to you? Rhys Donovan, dressed in his white coat, approached from down the hall. Noticing her uneven gait, he quickened his pace. It's nothing, just a sprained ankle. Before she could finish, Rhys had already bent down, lifting the cuff of her pants. His brow furrowed. It's this swollen and you're still walking around? You're a doctor, don't you know how to take care of yourself? His chiding tone held more concern than her boyfriend of 7 years had shown. Watching Rhys, who was nearly a foot taller than her, crouch down to carefully examine her ankle, Clara felt a lump form in her throat. She wanted to cry. I'm taking you for an examination. He stood up and scooped her into his arms. The moment her feet left the ground, Clara yelped, Put me down, I can walk myself. How are you going to walk? You'll cripple yourself if you keep this up. Rhys's face was stern as he carried her to orthopedics. After a doctor set the joint, she felt much better. In the hospital corridor, Rhys supported her as they walked slowly. Director Evans told me you agreed to the overseas fellowship. Clara nodded, then joked. I'll have to rely on your care abroad, Dr. Donovan. Rhys was usually a man of few words, his demeanor cool and reserved. He wasn't one for gossip, so when he asked his next question, Clara was surprised. If you go abroad, what about your fiancé? We're probably almost over. At the end of the corridor, 2 figures slowly approached. Leela was supporting Julian, who was leaning on her so heavily their proximity was undeniably intimate. What happened to you? Julian finally asked, noticing Clara's limp. It's nothing, Clara said, her face cold. You should go home. Aren't you coming? I have something to do. Without waiting for his response, she had already walked away with Rhys. Leela watched Clara's retreating back, a wounded expression on her face. Mr. Marshall, do you think Dr. Dawson is angry? It's fine. If she's really angry, that would be petty of her. It was past 10 at night when Clara got home. Pushing the door open, she saw Julian asleep on the sofa and Leela leaning in, about to kiss him. Seeing her, Leela froze, stammering, I'm sorry, Dr. Dawson, I couldn't control myself. I'll leave now. Leela fled as if escaping a fire. Julian, rubbing his eyes, was still oblivious to what had just happened. What's going on? Ignoring him, Clara bent down to change her shoes, her voice flat. It's late for a young woman to be going home alone. It's not safe. Shouldn't you see her home, Mr. Marshall? Her words snapped Julian to his senses. He grabbed his keys. I'll take her home. She was terrified at the bar, probably still scared. He rushed out, not even glancing back. Clara stared at the closed door, and the tears she'd been holding back finally broke free. 7 years, it had never hurt like this. She remembered a colleague saying that men aren't stupid. They know perfectly well who's interested in them. They just enjoy the ambiguity, refuse to say no. She guessed that was Julian's game, too. He wasn't tired of juggling 2 women. Julian came back very late that night. Before he did, he called her. I'll be back late. Leela's not feeling well. Okay, Clara replied, not asking for details. She calmly hung up and started packing. She had lived in this apartment for 3 years. There were so many things, too many to pack. Over their 7 years together, Julian had given her many gifts. Jewelry, handbags, and some handmade trinkets. He had always been thoughtful with his gifts for every occasion. But now, his heart belonged to someone else. Clara carried the boxes of gifts downstairs and, without hesitation, tossed them into the dumpster. Just as she turned, Julian returned. Why are you down here? Taking out the trash. Clara stepped into the elevator. Her ankles still ached and her walk was unsteady. It was only then that Julian noticed. I forgot to ask, how did you hurt your foot? I was hit by a car. You were hit by a car? Why didn't you tell me? Are you hurt anywhere else? He grabbed her arm, looking her over. I did tell you, Clara said, pulling her hand away. Her tone was calm. I called you right after the accident. You told me you were busy, and we'd talk later. Julian finally remembered the call. He had gotten Leela's call first, and in his worry for her, he hadn't even registered what Clara had said. A wave of guilt washed over him. He pulled Clara into his arms, his voice filled with remorse. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you. It's just, Leela was in trouble, it could have been serious, so I know. She knew. She knew that, at some point, the most important person in Julian's heart had become Leela. Even in his embrace, Clara felt a chill. She shivered. It's a little cold. Let's go home. Julian took her hand and they went back to the apartment. He was stunned to find it half empty. Where are the bags I gave you? I put them away. Clara yawned. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. She lay down and closed her eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. Julian wrapped his arms around her from behind, burying his face in the crook of her neck. The company has a team building event tomorrow. Will you come with me? Okay, she had tomorrow off. By her calculation, she had 5 days left. Let these 5 days be their last together. In the morning, Julian had everything ready. Clara followed him downstairs. He opened the front passenger door for her. As she was about to get in, she noticed something. The seat had been adjusted, for a woman shorter than her. The scent of perfume in the car was overpowering, a cheap fragrance that made her nauseous. She recognized the scent. She'd smelled it before. When she'd visited Julian's office, Leela Hayes smelled just like this. The first time she'd met Leela, Clara had asked Julian in surprise, I thought you always preferred more capable secretaries. Why the sudden change? Oh, she's a junior from my university. Don't let her small size and innocent looks fool you. She's actually very competent. At the time, Clara had believed him. Now she didn't. Clara opened the back door and slid into the rear seat. Julian frowned. What's wrong? Not sitting up front? I've discovered it's more comfortable in the back. Suit yourself. Julian didn't press the issue. The car sped off, eventually stopping in front of a residential building. Soon, Leela's cheerful figure appeared by the car. She expertly opened the passenger door and hopped in. Good morning, Mr. Marshall, I can't believe you really came to pick me up. Leela was beaming, completely oblivious to Clara in the back. It seemed she was a frequent passenger in Julian's car. Dr. Dawson, you're here too? Isn't this a company event? Seeing Clara, Leela's expression flickered, but she quickly put on a smile. Clara turned to look out the window, ignoring her. Julian, however, offered an explanation. Leela doesn't have a car, and it's not convenient for her to get there. It was on the way. On the way, his home and Leela's were on opposite ends of the city. What a long and convenient on the way it was. When they arrived at the event location, all the employees were already there. During the three-legged race, everyone had a partner except for Leela and Julian. Leela tugged on Julian's arm. Well, I guess I'll be with Mr. Marshall then. Julian didn't refuse. He said to Clara, your foot isn't better yet, just wait for me on the side. Clara stood by and watched them play. They had no coordination and stumbled halfway through. Leela fell on top of Julian. His arm was wrapped tightly around her, his hand protectively cradling her head, afraid she would get hurt. Watching the scene, Clara felt a pang of déjà vu. She saw her younger self in Leela. She remembered when they had just started dating, she had pestered Julian to take the bus with her. The bus was crowded, with only one seat left. Clara was exhausted and fell asleep in her seat, her head repeatedly bumping against the window. Julian, afraid she'd get hurt, had cupped his hand around her head. When Clara woke up, the bus had reached their stop. It was empty, but Julian was still standing there, his hand protecting her head. In that moment, Clara had known he was the one. In this moment, she was letting him go. Taking out her phone, she sent Julian a text. Something came up at the hospital. I'm heading back. Clara left the team building site and hailed a cab home. Reese called, saying he had organized a get-together with some hospital colleagues that evening and asked if she was coming. Before Clara could answer, she heard voices in the background. Dr. Dawson definitely won't come, she's about to leave. She must be spending every second with her fiancé, right? Exactly, Dr. Dawson never joins these kinds of parties. Clara's grip on her phone tightened. I'll be there, she said. Great, see you tonight. After Reese hung up, Clara opened her messaging app and saw Julian's reply. Be careful on your way, just 4 words, nothing more. She scrolled through his social media feed and saw his post from the team building event. Every single photo included Leela. Perhaps even Julian himself hadn't realized his heart had already changed. He had fallen for someone else. Clara liked his post, putting a final period on their 7-year relationship. Just after she did, a message from Julian came through. Something came up, I'll be home late tonight. Okay. Clara put her phone down and went to the karaoke bar. When she entered the private room, everyone erupted in cheers. "Dr. Dawson, what a rare guest, you never come to these things. What's the occasion? I know Dr. Dawson's getting married soon, right? Must be letting loose before tying the knot." Clara just smiled, offering no explanation. She naturally took a seat next to Reese, who asked, "Is your ankle better?" "Yes, much better." "That's good." They fell into a comfortable silence. Someone queued up a song. A breakup anthem. Who wants to sing? "I will." When Clara took the microphone, everyone stared. A woman about to be married, singing a song about breaking up. How strange. She was halfway through the song when someone pushed the door open. "Guess who I just saw? I saw Julian Marshall right next door, Dr. Dawson. Shouldn't you go say hi?" So Julian's something was a karaoke night. She shook her head. "No, I'm just going to the restroom." As she passed the room next door, Clara glanced inside. She saw Julian and Leela sitting together, surrounded by a jeering crowd. "Mr. Marshall, pick a girl next to you and give her a kiss." "There's only one girl next to Mr. Marshall." "Come on, Mr. Marshall, you've got to be a good sport, kiss her." Kiss her. They were playing Truth or Dare. Clara stood by the door, her expression unreadable. She watched as Julian slowly leaned in and planted a kiss on the corner of Leela's lips. The room exploded. "Woo-ah, they're a perfect match." "Yeah, Mr. Marshall, you two look great together." Watching Leela's shy smile and the gentle look on Julian's face, Clara's lips curved into a scornful smile. If they were a perfect match, then what was she? She turned and went into the restroom. As she came out, she overheard some of Julian's employees chatting. "Isn't Mr. Marshall getting married?" "Yeah, he is, and he's still getting all flirty with Secretary Hayes. It's a bit much." In that game just now, he could have just taken a penalty drink, but he chose to kiss her. Tusk, I wonder what his fiancé would think if she knew. What would Clara think? She probably didn't feel anything anymore. She walked over to the sink to wash her hands. The two women jumped. Dr. Dawson. They had seen Clara at Julian's office a few times, and again at the team building event today. Of course, they recognized her. "Hello, what we were just saying, I heard everything." Not only had she heard, but she had also seen it with her own eyes. Clara smiled and walked away. The two employees exchanged a look and scurried back to their room. "Mr. Marshall, we ran into Dr. Dawson and she saw what happened with you and Secretary Hayes." "What?" A flash of panic crossed Julian's face. Clara was here. But she never came to places like this. Back in her own room, Clara made a suggestion. "Let's play a game, Truth or Dare. Anyone in?" Her proactive suggestion immediately sparked everyone's interest. There was a pack of cards in the room, so they used those. Whoever the bottle points to has to choose Truth or Dare. The first round, the bottle pointed to Reese. "Dr. Donovan, is there someone you like?" Reese was known for being cool and stoic, a man of few words. He never had any women around him, so everyone was dying to know about his love life. He lifted his eyes, his gaze landing on Clara beside him. "Yes." Wow, the room erupted. "Who is it? Who? Is she here?" "That's a second question." Reese retracted his gaze, a faint smile playing on his lips. "No fun again. The second round, the bottle landed squarely on Clara. "Truth or Dare?" "Dare," she chose without hesitation. "Kiss one of the men in this room. Don't be ridiculous, Doctor. Dawson is getting married soon." Before the person could finish, Clara had already stood up and planted a light kiss on Reese's cheek. Everyone froze. At that exact moment, the door was thrown open. Julian saw Clara kissing Reese, and his face turned black. Without a word, he stormed in, grabbing Clara's arm. "What are you doing? Do you have any idea what you're doing?" "I know. I'm playing a game," Clara replied, looking at him coolly. "What's wrong?" Julian felt like he was about to explode. "What's wrong? You're my fiancé and you're kissing another man?" "I was playing a game. It's the rules. What was I supposed to do?" Her nonchalant attitude stunned Julian. The Clara he knew would never act like this. She was always considerate, always careful not to do anything that would displease him. What was wrong with her today? "It's Truth or Dare. Don't you think I know how to play? If you didn't want to do it, you could have just taken a drink." "Oh, so Mr. Marshall does know the rules." Clara let out a cold laugh. "Funny how you didn't know the rules when you were kissing Secretary Hayes, but you suddenly figured them out after the fact?" Julian froze. He hadn't expected her to have really seen it. I was just... He couldn't find the words. He didn't know what had possessed him to kiss Leela's lips. If he had known Clara was there, he never would have done it. The room was silent as everyone watched the drama unfold. Clara yanked her arm free. "Mr. Marshall, your employees are waiting for you. I have to get back to my colleagues. We can discuss this at home." Julian glanced at the crowd, not wanting to lose face. He stormed out of the room, bottling his anger. Leela was waiting for him at the door, her face a mask of concern. "Mr. Marshall, how is Dr. Dawson? Is she mad? We were just playing a game, she should understand, right?" "It's fine." Julian smelled the alcohol on her breath and frowned. "You've been drinking. Didn't I tell you that you have a sensitive stomach and should drink less? I only had a little. I'll take you home." Leela leaned against him, and they walked away. Clara emerged just in time to see their departing figures. It felt like a hand was squeezing her throat, and she couldn't breathe. After sending Leela home, Julian rushed back to his apartment. Clara was already asleep. He noticed the calendar on the table. The first was circled in red pen. It was jarring. He suddenly remembered their wedding was just around the corner, on the 1st, but they hadn't even taken their wedding photos. A pang of guilt hit him, and Julian immediately called the photographer. The next morning, Clara rolled over, habitually reaching for the space beside her. Empty, it was already cold. She got out of bed and heard a voice coming from the study. "What do you want for breakfast?" "I'll bring it to you, on my way to the office." "I want the congee you make yourself, oh, is that asking too much?" "Yes, it is. You're the only one bold enough to ask." Hearing the conversation, Clara raised her hand, wanting to storm in, but her hand froze on the doorknob and slowly dropped. Julian hated the kitchen. From the time they started dating, Clara had pleaded with him countless times to cook for her, just once, but he had never been willing. Clara returned to the bedroom. She wanted to see if Julian would break his rule this time. Not long after, the sound of chopping came from the kitchen. Clara frowned and threw back the covers. When she came out, she saw Julian, wearing her apron, busy in the kitchen. He was carefully washing vegetables, then cleaning seafood from the sink. He was clumsy, but there was a smile on his face. Watching him, Clara felt a sense of dislocation, as if the man in front of her wasn't Julian at all. "What are you doing?" She couldn't help but ask. Julian saw her and smiled. "You're awake?" "Nothing, just suddenly felt like making seafood congee. Go wash up, it'll be ready soon." Where did the seafood come from? Clara's heart was in turmoil, but her expression was perfectly calm. "Couldn't sleep this morning, so I went to the market." His casual reply confirmed it. Clara bit her lip so hard she could taste blood. In that moment, she was certain. Julian's heart had changed. 7 years. They had been together for 7 years. The first meal he had ever cooked was because another woman wanted to eat it. Julian spent the whole morning making the congee. Before serving it, he packed a portion into a lunchbox. Clara watched him, her voice devoid of emotion. "Who's that for?" "There's extra. I'll take it to the office, see if anyone wants it." But Clara knew that portion was for Leela. "You never used to like cooking." Just a whim. Julian kissed her on the forehead, picked up the lunchbox, and headed for the door. Clara called out to him, "Aren't you going to eat with me?" "No, I'll eat at the office." As he left, he added, "There's a package being delivered to your hospital today. It's a surprise for you." Clara watched his retreating back and smiled bitterly. "A surprise? Julian, you've given me plenty of surprises these past few days." She looked at the congee on the table. She took a spoonful. It was delicious. So it wasn't that Julian couldn't cook. He just wasn't willing to cook for her. Clara went to the hospital. It was a busy day, with 3 surgeries scheduled. During her lunch break, a colleague brought over a large box. "Dr. Dawson, a package for you, it's huge. What could it be?" Clara opened it impassively. Inside was a pristine white wedding dress. "Oh my God, it's a wedding dress. It's so beautiful, this must be custom made, right? I've never seen a dress this gorgeous. The skirt is even embroidered with diamonds." "Dr. Dawson, Mr. Marshall sent this, right? He's so good to you." Her colleagues looked at her with envy. Clara picked up the card next to it. It read, "Put on the dress and meet me where we first met. Clara, it's time for our wedding photos." Looking at the note, Clara emotionlessly stuffed the dress back into the box. A colleague, seeing her indifference, asked curiously, "Dr. Dawson, aren't you happy? You've wanted to marry Julian Marshall since graduation, haven't you?" No, she had wanted to marry him since university. For Julian, she was willing to give up everything, even the opportunity to study abroad. But what about Julian? His heart was now divided between two women. What time is the next surgery? Clara didn't answer her question, quickly finishing her meal. 3 o'clock. All right, let's get ready. I'll be right there. Her colleagues exchanged glances, saying no more. Julian waited at the university for a long time. Even the photographer was getting impatient, but didn't dare to say anything. Mr. Marshall, Miss Dawson is... Forget the photographer. Julian's own expression was growing darker by the minute. No one had ever made him wait this long, not even Clara. In the past, for any date, Clara would arrive half an hour early and wait for him. Sometimes she would even plan the entire date, from which restaurant to eat at, to which movie to watch, and even what bubble tea to drink. He never had to worry about a thing. But now she had dared to make him wait in the wind for an entire day. Julian called Clara. No one answered. Fuming, he told the photographer to leave and drove to the hospital to find her. I need to see Clara Dawson. Where is she? Dr. Dawson is unavailable right now. Please wait for her in her office. Julian waited in her office until it was dark, but there was still no sign of Clara. He had run out of patience. He stormed out of the office and, a few steps down the hall, saw Clara just coming out of surgery. Clara had performed 3 surgeries in a row. She was utterly exhausted. She hadn't eaten dinner and had only had a few bites at lunch. Her stomach was starting to hurt. Julian strode over, grabbed her hand and demanded, Why didn't you come? His grip was painful. Clara winced. What are you doing? Let go of me. You know, I waited for you at the university all day. I was waiting there like an idiot for our wedding photo shoot, and you. What were you doing? I was in surgery. Clara pulled her hand away, her voice heavy. Just go home. I waited for you all day. If you weren't coming, why didn't you call and tell me? A wedding photo shoot is such an important thing, and you just blow it off. Do you even want to marry me? And you, Clara laughed coldly. The day we went for our first dress fitting, you left without a word. You didn't even bother to say anything to me. I had something to do that day. Julian suddenly felt a pang of guilt, his gaze shifting. Right. Your something was going to your office to put a bandage on your dear secretary. He looked at her, shocked. How did you know? Forget it. Clara was too tired to argue about these meaningless things. I'm exhausted. Let's talk about this at home. That was an accident. Leela fell at the office. It was a workplace injury. How could I not check on her? Julian blocked her path, stubbornly trying to explain. Trust me, I have no feelings for her. Waves of pain shot through Clara's stomach. A cold sweat beaded on her forehead. She had no energy to speak, no strength to push him away. Just when she didn't know what to do, Reese appeared. Dr. Dawson, you've been in surgery for 12 hours straight. You're exhausted. I'll take you home to rest. Only then did Julian calm down. She really had been in surgery, and 3 in a row at that. 12 hours. Anyone would be drained, let alone Clara, who had never been particularly strong. He reached out to support her, but Clara pushed him away. Dr. Donovan, please, take me to the break room. Julian tried to follow, but Reese stopped him. I'm sorry, Mr. Marshall. The break room is for hospital staff only. Outsiders are not allowed. One sentence blocked him, leaving him standing there, unable to advance or retreat. In the break room, Reese made her a cup of hot coffee and handed her a food container he had just warmed up in the microwave. You must be hungry. Eat. What's this? Clara took a sip of the coffee and felt her energy return. I knew you had a long day of surgeries. I was worried you'd miss dinner and get a stomachache, so I made some extra. Reese opened the container for her, revealing an array of exquisite, delicious-looking dishes. Instantly, the aroma of food filled the room. Clara stared at the food, stunned. You made this? Reese nodded coolly and handed her a new pair of chopsticks. The chopsticks were cute, with a Hello Kitty design on the handle. Clara looked at him in disbelief. Dr. Donovan, you can cook. When you live alone, you have to learn. Dr. Dawson, please try it. Then I won't be polite. Clara was starving. She picked up her chopsticks and began to eat. She took a bite of her favorite sweet and sour ribs and was surprised by how delicious they were. This is so good. She tried the other dishes, and each was more amazing than the last. She found that Reese was full of surprises. The aloof, Buddha-like Reese, who barely spoke a word, was actually a master in the kitchen. If the young nurses at the hospital who already coveted him for his looks and physique found out he could cook, they would probably go wild. I'm glad you like it. A blush crept up Reese's face, spreading to the tips of his ears. Clara teased, "Dr. Donovan, you know a lot of people at our hospital have a crush on you, right?" "Really?" Reese's tone was flat. "What about you?" Cough, cough, cough. Clara nearly choked on his question. Reese quickly handed her a glass of water. "Are you okay? Eat slowly." "I'm fine." Clara lowered her head and focused on her food, not speaking again. When she came out, Julian was waiting for her at the door. "Clara." Julian's voice was soft, and he apologized sincerely. "I'm sorry, it was my fault. I didn't know you had surgery today. If I had, I would have definitely chosen another day." Seeing his expression, Clara sighed. "It's fine, let's go home." Back home, Julian took the initiative to draw a hot bath for her to soak her feet. "Clara, you've had a long day, soak your feet." Julian was rarely like this. Clara thought he had genuinely realized his mistake, until Leela called. "Hello, Mr. Marshall, the power's out at my apartment, and I'm so scared, can you come over and help me fix it?" Clara could hear Leela's voice clearly. Julian looked up at Clara, hesitating. Clara ignored him, drying her feet and standing up. A few steps later, she noticed the bathroom faucet was leaking. The faucet had been faulty for a while, and today the leak was much worse. She turned. "Julian, the faucet is leaking." Before she could finish, Julian had already opened the door. "Clara, I can't just leave her. Leela is terrified of the dark. The power's out and she's crying. I'm worried about her. Wait for me at home, I'll be back soon." The door slammed shut. Clara turned and watched as water from the faucet spread across the floor. She finally took out her phone and called a plumber. By the time the plumber arrived, the apartment was flooded. She knelt on the floor, wiping the tiles with a cloth, bit by bit. When the plumber finished, he asked her, puzzled, "Don't you have a man in the house? Making a woman do this kind of thing in the middle of the night?" Clara scrubbed, and then she started to cry. She had never thought she would lose, but she had well and truly lost. Barefoot, she cleaned the floor all night. As dawn approached, the water was finally gone. But she had a fever. Her body gave out and she collapsed. Just before she fainted, she received a message from Julian. "Clara, they can't fix the power at Leela's place. She's scared, so I'm not coming home tonight." She didn't go to the hospital. She didn't call in sick. Reese, knowing she was never so unprofessional, called her. No one answered. Worried something had happened, he went to her apartment. The door hadn't been locked properly by the plumber. He pushed it open and saw Clara, unconscious on the floor. "Clara," he panicked, rushing over to pick her up. So hot. She was burning up. "Reese, what are you doing in my home?" Just as Reese was holding Clara, Julian returned. He saw them and his anger flared. "What are you doing with my girlfriend?" He reached for her, but Reese dodged him. "Your girlfriend? Does Mr. Marshall even remember that Dr. Dawson is your girlfriend? Where were you, Mr. Marshall, when she was on the floor, unconscious with a high fever?" "A high fever? She has a fever?" Julian frowned. "She was fine when he left last night. How could this be?" "I'm taking her to the hospital." "I'll be the one to take her. I'm her boyfriend. Dr. Donovan, this is none of your business. If you argue with me any longer, she'll be delirious from the fever." Reese shot him a glare. "If you really care about her, drive to the hospital now." Clara's fever was high. When she woke up, she saw two handsome faces beside her, a worried Julian and an expressionless Reese. "Clara, you're awake?" Julian anxiously grabbed her hand. "Are you okay? How are you feeling?" Clara's dark eyes fluttered. She pulled her hand away. "I'm fine. How did you get a fever?" "It's nothing. The faucet broke last night, the floor flooded, and I spent all night cleaning it up." Her voice was flat, as if she were talking about something that had nothing to do with her. Julian's heart sank. "I'm sorry, Clara. I didn't know. I thought you would have called a plumber and it would have been fixed quickly. Why didn't you call me?" "If I had called you, would you have come?" Clara blinked. "Wouldn't you have been too afraid that Leela would be scared of the dark?" Before Julian could say anything else, Leela appeared at the door. She walked in tentatively, holding a bouquet of flowers and a fruit basket. "I'm sorry, Dr. Dawson. I didn't know you were in the hospital until Mr. Marshall didn't show up at the office this morning. It's all my fault. If my power hadn't gone out and I hadn't called Mr. Marshall away, you wouldn't have gotten sick. Your apology is more than I can bear." Clara turned her head away, her voice cold. "Take your things and leave. I don't like them." "Dr. Dawson, please don't be like this. I really didn't mean it. I'm all alone here. I don't have any friends, besides Mr. Marshall. I really didn't know who else to call." Leela lowered her head and started to sob softly. She cried so pitifully, looking utterly forlorn. Julian couldn't help but speak up for her. "Clara, if you're upset, take it out on me. Don't make things difficult for Leela. She's just a young girl." Watching him shield Leela, Clara closed her eyes. She finally understood what it meant to feel the greatest sorrow is a heart that has died. "Everyone get out, I'm tired." She ordered them to leave. Julian left with Leela. Reese told her to rest well and left too. A little while later, Julian returned. Just then, his mother called. "Son, have you and Clara taken your wedding photos yet? You're getting married soon. Why are the two of you so quiet?" The call was a wake-up call for both of them. Yes, they were getting married, and the wedding was the day after tomorrow. But so far, all the wedding preparations had been handled by their parents. The two of them hadn't done a thing, and Clara had already bought her plane ticket to leave the country. "Mom, you just handle everything as planned. Clara and I will be at the wedding on time the day after tomorrow morning." Julian hung up. He looked at Clara, his voice full of guilt. "Clara, I really didn't know. If I had, I wouldn't have left you at home alone." Looking at his apologetic face, Clara finally spoke. "Julian, we've been together for 7 years, haven't we?" "Yes, 7 years. Do you think the 7-year itch is a real thing?" At her words, Julian's heart clenched. He asked nervously, "What's wrong, Clara? Why are you asking that?" "Nothing. Some people say that after you've been together for a long time, the novelty wears off. If someone more interesting comes along, you'll fall for them." "Julian, if one day you don't love me anymore, if you fall for another woman, just tell me. I won't cling to you." Her words sent a wave of panic through Julian. He reached out and pulled her into his arms. "Is this about last night? Because I went to Leela's and didn't come back. Are you upset? I saw her crying, and I knew she was scared, so as her boss, I went to help. That's all, nothing more. If you don't like it, I'll never see her again, okay?" Julian held her tightly, so tightly she could barely breathe. Clara was disappointed. She would have preferred it if Julian had just admitted it, that he had fallen for Leela, that his heart had changed. But even now, he couldn't see his own heart clearly. "Clara, we're getting married the day after tomorrow. I'll make you the happiest bride in the world. We can retake the wedding photos later. If you really care about it, we can go tomorrow." The strong scent of perfume still lingered on him, Leela's perfume. Clara felt sick to her stomach. She pushed him away. "Even if we take them tomorrow, they won't be developed in time." "It's fine. If you really want to have a wedding, then let's have it." Julian breathed a sigh of relief. "Good, you get some rest. We'll go home when you're better." Her wedding leave began. Julian brought celebratory candies to the office, saying he was going to be busy with company matters and asking if she wanted to come along. Clara declined. She needed time to pack the rest of her belongings. In the 3 years she had lived in this apartment, she had accumulated many things. She packed them one by one into suitcases, then drew a cross on the calendar. Finally, she finished packing everything and left Julian's home. When Julian came back, she was gone and the apartment was nearly empty. "What's going on?" Julian was stunned. He called Clara, and the woman on the other end of the line sounded placid. "Clara, where did you go? Where are all our things? And your luggage?" It was the first time Clara had lied to him. "My mom said that before the wedding, the bride and groom should be apart and not see each other. So I moved back home." Julian believed her without a shred of doubt. "You scared me, Clara. I thought you'd left, that you didn't want me anymore." In that moment, the stone in Julian's heart lifted. And in that same moment, he realized how important Clara was to him. That evening, Clara's mother prepared a feast. At the dinner table, her mother cried, "Clara, you're leaving, and I don't know when you'll be back." "Mom, it's only for 3 years. It's not like I'm not coming back." Clara lowered her head, her feelings a complicated mess. "You and Julian have been together for 7 years. You're supposed to get married tomorrow. Are you sure you can just leave?" Her mother didn't understand. "Everything is fine. Why suddenly not get married? Is Julian seeing someone else?" Her mother kept asking, but Clara just kept her head down, not saying a word. Clara's father coughed a few times. "That's enough. Since our daughter has made her decision, she must have her reasons. Stop asking. But what about the wedding tomorrow? The Marshall family's betrothal gifts are all at home. The venue and the church are all booked. Someone will be there." Clara smiled faintly and put down her utensils. "I have to get up early tomorrow. I'm going to bed. Good night, Mom and Dad." At the airport, Reese and Clara arrived on time at the departure gate. Her hospital colleagues and Director Evans had come early to see them off. Dr. Donovan, Dr. Dawson, you must study hard when you come back. Our hospital will have 2 more top talents. Director Evans shook their hands, his hopes for them high. Dr. Dawson, why isn't your fiancé here to see you off? Yeah, you're leaving for 3 years. How could he not come? Clara glanced at the time. It was 7 in the morning. Julian should be on his way to the church by now, and the grand gift she had sent should have arrived at Leela's home. He's very busy today. He won't be coming. Julian was very busy getting married. How could he possibly come? Besides, he didn't even know she was leaving. All right, it's time. Let's go. Reese and she walked side by side through the gate. Before she left, she took one last look at the city. Julian, I hope you like my gift. The wedding venue was a scene of bustling excitement. The Marshall family was a prominent name, and for Julian's wedding, almost everyone of note had been invited. Early in the morning, Julian had tried calling Clara, but her phone was off. He didn't think much of it, assuming she was busy with makeup and preparations. When he arrived at the church, his mother, Alina, found him. Son, the wedding is about to start. Our side is almost full, but why hasn't anyone from Clara's family arrived? Not only had they not arrived, even Clara's parents weren't there. Maybe something came up. They'll be here soon. Julian still didn't pay it much mind. He was nervous. The thought of marrying the woman he loved made him feel a little helpless. Seeing his sweaty palms, Alina chuckled. Nervous about getting married? Yeah. It was the first time he'd ever been this nervous. You've been together for 7 years. If Clara doesn't marry you, who else would she marry? Don't be nervous. Just wait for your bride. But as the wedding was about to begin, there was still no sign of Clara or her family. Julian began to panic. He called Clara again. Still off, no answer. He sent a message, no reply. The church bells chimed and white doves flew from the rooftop. The wedding began. Julian stood at the end of an aisle of red carpet, feeling uneasy, when a woman in a white wedding dress appeared at the church entrance. The wedding dress was the one Julian recognized. It was the one he had sent to Clara. He had it custom made, and it had cost a fortune. Seeing her, Julian's anxious heart finally settled. But as the woman slowly approached, Julian realized that the person who came was not Clara, but Leela. Leela, what are you doing here? He rubbed his eyes, thinking he was hallucinating. He was supposed to marry Clara today. How could it be Leela? Mr. Marshall, if you wanted to marry me, why didn't you say so sooner? I was so surprised when I received the wedding dress. Leela lowered her head, looking shy and demure. When she woke up that morning, she had found the package. Opening it, she was stunned to see the wedding dress. Fortunately, there was a card inside, telling her to come to this church to marry Julian. The signature was Julian's. She was so excited, she didn't even think twice before coming. She never expected it to be real. What are you talking about? Where's Clara? Where did you hide Clara? He grabbed Leela's wrist, agitated. The guests, seeing this, began to whisper among themselves. Alina immediately rushed over, her voice low. What's going on? Aren't you marrying Clara? Why is it your secretary? Son, what have you done? Is there something you've been hiding from me? Everyone who's anyone is here today. If the Marshall family becomes a laughingstock, we'll be shamed for life. Mom, the wedding is canceled. Something must have happened. I have to find Clara. He was about to leave when both Leela and Alina grabbed him. How can we cancel? Alina gritted her teeth and made a decision. Fine, just marry her. What? Julian was shocked. How can I marry someone else? The person I love is Clara. Don't you like your secretary too? I've been to your company several times and seen you two being all ambiguous since it's come to this. Just marry her. The Marshall family's reputation is what's most important. No, Julian shook his head, refusing without a second thought. I love Clara. The only person I will ever marry is Clara. With that, he strode out of the church. Leela, seeing this, chased after him, crying, Mr. Marshall, don't go. What happened? Why is this happening? Didn't you want to marry me? I never once thought of marrying you. I've only ever seen you as a sister. The word sister hit Leela like a physical blow. She pursed her lips, her sobs growing more intense. What did you say? You only see me as a sister? Yes. Impossible. If you only saw me as a sister, why would you work overtime with me every day? Why would you tear off the sticker on the passenger seat just so I could sit there? Why would you drop everything and come to my place when you heard I was afraid of the dark, leaving Clara behind?" Leela's words were a harsh wake-up call for Julian. So, he had done so many things that crossed the line. He had done so many things that hurt Clara. "I'm sorry, Leela. If I did anything to make you misunderstand, I apologize. But I have no feelings for you. The only person I love is Clara." Guilt flooded him. Julian got in his car and drove to the Dawsons' residence. No one was home. He rang the doorbell for a long time until a neighbor came out. "Mr. Marshall, are you looking for your in-laws? They went on a trip, left in a hurry this morning." Julian then sped to the hospital. He had to find Clara. He needed an explanation. "Dr. Dawson." "Where is Dr. Dawson?" "Mr. Marshall." Julian often came to the hospital. He was handsome, rich, and Dr. Dawson's fiancé, so almost everyone knew him. "Why are you only here now?" "What do you mean?" Julian didn't understand. So many things had happened recently, his mind was a mess. Dr. Dawson left. "She left early this morning." His mind went blank with a loud boom, and he almost lost his footing. "Where did she go?" "You don't know. Dr. Dawson went abroad for a fellowship. She won't be back for 3 years." The man's eyes reddened. He clenched his fists, the veins on his arms bulging. "Say that again?" "I said, Dr. Dawson went abroad for a fellowship. She won't be back for 3 years, Mr. Marshall. You didn't know about something this big?" "The doctors from our hospital went to the airport to see them off this morning. We were all wondering why you weren't there." "Them? Who else besides her?" "Dr. Donovan. Dr. Donovan and Dr. Dawson are the 2 most outstanding young doctors in our hospital. The director thinks very highly of them. There were only 2 fellowship spots, and Dr. Dawson didn't want to go at first. She kept turning the director down. But then, for some reason, she suddenly agreed to go." Julian couldn't hear what the nurse said after that. His head was buzzing, a chaotic mess. Pain. His heart was in unbearable pain. It was as if a giant net had ensnared his heart and he was suffocating. He staggered out, nearly falling after a few steps. A nurse wanted to help him but didn't dare. "Mr. Marshall, are you okay?" "Okay? How could he be okay? The woman he loved the most had left him on their wedding day. How could he be okay?" Julian returned to the home he had shared with Clara. It was empty. Everything of hers was gone. So she had been lying to him that day. She said she was going home, that they couldn't see each other before the wedding. But from that day on, she had already decided not to marry him. She had already decided to leave him. He took out his phone, habitually dialing Leela's number. "Book me a plane ticket." "A ticket to where? Mr. Marshall, where are you going?" Hearing her voice, Julian hung up. Clara didn't like him being with Leela. He couldn't have Leela by his side anymore. He called HR at his company and had Leela transferred to another department. Just after he did, Leela's calls started coming in, one after another. He bought the next flight to London himself. He was going to find Clara and bring her back. Julian's attitude left Leela deeply disappointed. The incident at the wedding had made her the laughingstock of the company. Whether she was in the restroom or getting tea in the break room, she could hear people whispering about her. "I thought Mr. Marshall saw something special in her, but it turns out she was just being delusional." Exactly. Mr. Marshall and his fiancée of 7 years were doing just fine, about to get married, and she had to stir up trouble. Now they've broken up, and she didn't get a happy ending either. Did you see the news? She even wore a wedding dress to the ceremony. It's hilarious. Their whispers were hardly whispers at all. They knew she was there, knew she could hear every word, but they said it loudly anyway. Leela had been enduring it for a long time, but Julian hanging up on her was the last straw. She couldn't take it anymore. "Enough, have you said enough?" "What?" "We're just telling the truth. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen." The female employees started taunting her. "You're a homewrecker and you're afraid of people talking about it? Look at yourself. Did you really think Mr. Marshall would fall for you? Who are you calling a homewrecker?" Those 2 words completely enraged Leela. She threw down her cup and lunged, grabbing one of the women by the hair. A sharp cry of pain, and the woman shrieked. "Let go, you homewrecker. I was right about you. You destroyed someone's relationship. What are you if not a homewrecker?" Shut up, Leela hit her wildly. The other women, seeing this, stepped in to pull them apart. But it quickly turned into several women ganging up on her. "You damn homewrecker, will teach you a lesson today on behalf of Mr. Marshall's fiancé. How dare you fight with us? You think you've got what it takes. A little thing like you, doing nothing but being a homewrecker. You're so good at this. Why don't you call Mr. Marshall to come save you? That last sentence was a wake-up call for Leela. In the struggle, she managed to dial Julian's number. Before she could speak, Julian's furious voice came through the line. I told you, don't bother me, Mr. Marshall. Save me. The call was disconnected. Seeing that Julian didn't care about Leela, the women hit her even harder. It wasn't until other employees discovered the commotion that they rushed over and pulled them apart. By then, Leela was beaten beyond recognition. She passed out and was sent to the hospital by her colleagues. When she woke up, there was no one by her bed. Suddenly, she had gone from being the object of everyone's envy to a pariah. Her whole body ached, an unbearable pain. She walked to the mirror and looked at herself. Her body was covered in bruises. She didn't believe it. She didn't believe that even in this state, Julian wouldn't come to see her. So she had a nurse take a photo of her, unconscious and battered, and sent it to Julian. Mr. Marshall, I'm dying. I just want to see you one last time. When Julian received the photo, he was about to board his flight. Seeing the message, he frowned and called his assistant. Why is Leela in the hospital? Mr. Marshall, I heard that people at the company were calling her a homewrecker. They couldn't stand her, so they ganged up on her and beat her up, badly enough to land her in the hospital. Thinking back to the phone call, Leela had seemed to be saying, save me. It was almost time to board. Julian decided not to go to the hospital. You go to the hospital, see what's going on. Assign someone to take good care of her, give her a sum of money, and make sure nothing happens to her. And as for those people at the company, dock each of them half a month's salary. If anyone dares to cause trouble at the company again, fire them immediately. Mr. Marshall, aren't you going to see Secretary Hayes? The assistant was curious. Wasn't Mr. Marshall always most concerned about Leela? Why was he so unconcerned now? Had he really never liked her? I don't have time. With that, he turned off his phone, picked up his luggage, and boarded the first-class cabin. Leela waited in the hospital for a long time, but Julian never came. Instead, his assistant did. Seeing the assistant, Leela was utterly disappointed. Why is it you? Mr. Marshall is busy, so he sent me to check on you. He's busy, Leela laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Where did he go? Did he fly to London? He's going to find Clara, isn't he? That is correct. The assistant didn't hide it from her. He handed her a check for $100,000. This is from Mr. Marshall. He said you don't have to come to the office for a few days. Get some rest. And as for those people at the company, Mr. Marshall won't let them off easy. He'll get you justice. Looking at the check, Leela let out another desolate laugh. Hess, a check. He was trying to get rid of her with a check. What did he, Julian Marshall, take her for? I understand. She wiped away her tears and lay back down on the bed, her face expressionless. Then I'll be going. The assistant left. Leela took out her phone and booked a flight to London. Some things couldn't just be forgotten. A vicious glint appeared in Leela's eyes. Clara Dawson, you made me a public humiliation. I, Leela Hayes, will not let you off the hook. Clara was busy after arriving in London. The moment she and Reese landed, they had several meetings with the local doctors. It was evening by the time she got back to the apartment the hospital had arranged for them. Reese lived across the hall. She had just put her things down when Reese knocked on her door. Want to grab a bite to eat? You have stomach problems, you can't go hungry. Clara nodded, put on a jacket, and followed him downstairs. There was a restaurant in the hotel below their apartment. They sat by the window, each ordering a steak. Clara finally had a moment to turn on her phone. She had a lot of missed calls, all from Julian, and many messages. She scrolled through them one by one. The earliest was from 5 in the morning. Clara, I'm finally going to marry you. I'm so excited I can't sleep. Are you? I miss you so much. I want to see you right now. Clara, when I first saw you at the university 7 years ago, I knew that my bride, for the rest of my life, would only be you. Clara, I'm at the church. It's your favorite one. Are you on your way? Where are you? Why aren't you here yet? The wedding is about to start. Why? Why did you give Leela the wedding dress I sent you? Why did you run away from our wedding? I love you, not her. Why would you do this? You actually left the country. You left without even telling me, Clara. Did you ever even think of me as your boyfriend? Reading the last message, Clara put down her cutlery and quickly replied, Julian, let's break up. Then she turned her phone off. Today was supposed to be your wedding to Julian, wasn't it? Reese spoke up, his voice low. Clara looked up at him in surprise. How did you know? She hadn't invited any colleagues to her wedding with Julian. In theory, Reese shouldn't have known. I heard Director Evans mention you took leave that day. Yes, it was supposed to be. Clara had no appetite. She couldn't eat a single bite of her steak. Do you regret it? No regrets. Clara shook her head. It's better to see someone's true colors in 7 years than to waste a lifetime. Since his heart already belongs to someone else, I'll let them be. Seeing her so carefree, Reese raised his glass. Then I should congratulate you on your new beginning. Heth, thanks. Clara was truly happy. Free from everything related to Julian, the smile on her face was brighter. She drank the glass of red wine in one gulp, ate her steak, and felt completely relaxed. Back in her room, she fell asleep. She slept soundly, a deep sleep until morning. When she woke up, she habitually checked her phone and saw that it was still off. After turning it on, she saw dozens of missed calls, all from Julian. She was annoyed. She had already come to London, had already told him they were breaking up, and had even sent Leela to his wedding. What more did he want? As soon as her phone was on, it rang again. Seeing the caller ID, Clara felt her good mood for the day evaporate. She still didn't answer, thinking that if she just ignored him for a few days, Julian would eventually give up and stop bothering her. She was busy, very busy. Here, besides studying at the hospital, she would go with Reese to attend lectures at various universities. Every day she was running around, learning all kinds of medical knowledge. Clara felt like she was alive again, that she had found her younger self. Her phone rang every day. Julian's number would pop up from time to time. She would often see it and immediately turn off her phone. Until one day, a message from Julian came. I'm in London, let's meet. When she saw the message, Clara was in the middle of a lecture. The book in her hand fell to the floor. Reese bent down to pick it up for her. What's wrong? Julian is in London. He wants to see me. Clara felt there was no need to meet, but Reese said, I've seen you frowning every time you look at your phone these past few days. He must be calling you every day. Instead of letting this drag on, it's better to say things clearly face to face. I trust Julian is not an unreasonable person. His words made Clara decide. Okay. Clara decided to meet Julian. She chose a coffee shop. It was afternoon when she arrived, and the sunlight was lovely. She sat by the window, wearing a scarf, holding a coffee cup, and closing her eyes to enjoy the sun. It had been a long time since she had felt so at ease. She never thought that leaving Julian would make her happier. When Julian arrived, this was the sight he saw. Under the sunlight, she looked like an ethereal fairy who didn't belong to this world. She was smiling so happily. Julian hadn't seen such a radiant smile in a long time. He stood by the door, not wanting to walk in and disturb her. He watched for he didn't know how long, until he saw Clara repeatedly checking her watch, then he quickened his pace and walked over. He hadn't seen her for a few days, and he missed her terribly. Clara's reaction was not as strong, her tone was light. Sit down. What would you like to drink? My treat. Clara, call me Clara. Clara interrupted him. We've broken up after all. Calling me Clara is too intimate. It's not appropriate. A pang of pain shot through Julian's heart. You say we've broken up and we've broken up? Clara, we've been together for 7 years. 7 years, how could you just run away from our wedding without a word? I thought you would like it. Clara blinked. The wedding gift I sent you, you didn't like it. Don't you like Leela? Since you like her, just marry her. Isn't that better? Who told you I like Leela? Julian became agitated. I never said I liked her. The person I've always liked is you, Clara. In the past, when he said such things, she might have believed him. Now it just sounded ridiculous. Don't be silly, Julian. You're 30 years old. Don't you even know your own heart? What if I say I really don't? Julian grabbed her hand, apologizing sincerely. I only see her as a sister. I've already made it clear to her. Julian, that night the faucet was leaking, the plumber came. Seeing me on the floor wiping up the water, even he felt sorry for me and asked, Don't you have a man in the house? Making you do this kind of thing. But you just rushed off to be with another woman without a second thought. If what you call love is leaving me, and what you call not loving is rushing to her, then I'd rather you didn't love me. Pulling her hand away, Clara took a sip of her coffee and frowned. Before he came, the coffee had tasted fragrant. Now that he was here, even the coffee had turned bitter. I was wrong, okay? Julian finally understood how terribly he had messed up. But we've been together for 7 years. Are you just going to throw away 7 years of our relationship like that? A faucet doesn't break in a day. It had been leaking for days. I told you, but you always said you were too busy to deal with it. Now that it's completely broken, you're telling me it just broke? Clara shook her head. Some things aren't as simple as you say they are. She glanced at the time. She had a lecture to attend in the afternoon. She had no more time to waste on Julian. We've broken up, Julian. Don't call me anymore and don't come looking for me. I'm very busy. I don't have time for you. She stood up to leave, but Julian, unwilling to give up, wrapped his arms around her. Don't go, Clara. I know you love me. Your heart still has me in it, right? You're just throwing a tantrum, right? We were about to get married. Don't do this to me. Julian held her tightly. In the past, she would have felt happy and joyful. Now, she just felt suffocated. Let go of me, Julian. The people around them started to stare. She tried to push him away, but she didn't have the strength. Until Reese appeared. Mr. Marshall, please let her go. Reese's appearance stirred up the already turbulent emotions in Julian's heart. He released Clara, turned, and threw a punch at Reese. This is between her and me. It's none of your business. Reese hadn't expected the attack. He couldn't dodge in time and took the punch squarely. The corner of his mouth split open. He stumbled back a few steps, crashing into a table behind him. The tableware on it shattered on the floor. Julian, are you crazy? Seeing Reese get hit, Clara rushed over and helped him up. Dr. Donovan, are you okay? I'm fine. Reese shook his head, managing a smile for Clara. He looked her up and down. What about you? Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Don't worry, I'm fine, but you're bleeding. Even in this state, he was still worried about her. A warmth spread through Clara's heart. She took out a tissue, wanting to wipe the blood from his mouth, but Julian pulled her away. Clara, I'm your boyfriend. Enough, Julian, we've already broken up, haven't we? You're not my boyfriend anymore. And you have no right to hit Dr. Donovan. You need to apologize to him. Clara glared at him, her eyes filled with an anger he had never seen before. You want me to apologize to him? He, the CEO of a major corporation, apologized to a mere doctor. Julian apologized. Clara was genuinely furious. She had never imagined Julian could be so rude he had actually hit someone. Seeing her anger, Julian reluctantly spoke. I'm sorry, Dr. Donovan. With his apology, some of Clara's anger subsided. Dr. Donovan, why are you here? Of course, he had been worried about her, so he came. And it turned out he was right to come. Julian was still harassing her, and she seemed very distressed. I was afraid you'd forget about the lecture, so I came to pick you up. Thank you, I didn't forget. Let's go. Clara picked up her bag, ready to leave with Reese. Julian tried to follow, but Clara stopped him. Where do you think you're going? Mr. Marshall, don't you see the mess on the floor? If you don't stay and pay for it, they'll probably call the police and have you arrested. A simple sentence rooted Julian to the spot. He couldn't move. He could only watch as Reese and Clara walked away, shoulder to shoulder. Just as they left, he got a call from back home. Mr. Marshall, Secretary Hayes has resigned. Why? Julian had no energy to deal with Leela's matters now, but since he had made her misunderstand, he asked a few questions. She said she came to the company to be your secretary. If she can't be your secretary, she would rather resign. See which department is short a manager, put her there, and give her a raise. She doesn't want a raise either, Mr. Marshall. She wants to resign now. Julian sighed. Let her go then, let her. He kicked at the broken shards on the floor in frustration. What a mess, by the way. Find out who the director of this hospital in London is. Julian sent Clara's hospital information over. Soon, his assistant sent back the director's contact details. Without hesitation, after paying for the damages at the restaurant, he left. After many busy days, Clara had completely forgotten about Julian. Until one day, the director of the London hospital announced that there would be a ball in the evening and hoped that Reese and Clara could attend. Clara didn't have a dress for a ball. Reese also needed to buy a suit, so they arranged to go shopping together. Late autumn in London was gray and a bit cold. Clara was lightly dressed. Seeing she was cold, Reese took off his coat and handed it to her. You must be cold, put this on. No, Dr. Donovan, you're not wearing much either. You'll get sick. Do I look that weak? Reese frowned, his handsome face full of confusion. He worked out, had a six-pack and a V-line. How could he be weak? No, he had to find a chance to show her. The other day, Julian punched you, and you looked like you couldn't even stand. Clara blinked, her words sincere. Her words, though unintentional, hit a nerve. Reese stopped in his tracks and started to explain, "That day, I didn't expect him to do that. I wasn't prepared. Okay. Clara didn't pay it much mind. She saw a maul and pulled Reese inside. "All right, it's not cold in here. You should put your coat back on before you catch a cold." Reese looked so gentle and refined, it seemed he was more likely to get sick than she was. He wanted to say more, but Clara was already browsing. She came to a boutique and hesitated, unsure what kind of dress to wear. Until, on a rack, she saw a cheongsam in a shade of twilight blue. The dress caught her eye immediately. A sales associate approached. "Miss, this dress would look beautiful on you. Wearing a traditional Chinese cheongsam to a ball in London would certainly be unique. I'll try it on." She went in to try it on. When she came out, Reese was speechless. Wow, a passerby couldn't help but praise her. Clara felt a little unsure. Although she had always loved cheongsams, she had never had a chance to wear one. She looked up at Reese, who had been silent for a while. "How is it? Is it okay?" A woman in a cheongsam is like a poem, elegant and serene. "Miss, do you even need to ask? Your boyfriend's eyes are glued to you." He's not my boyfriend." Clara's cheeks flushed red. She turned and went back to the fitting room. When she came out, her composure was restored. "I'll take this one. Dr. Donovan, do you need help picking out a suit?" In the past, when she was with Julian, she had personally chosen all of his suits and even his ties. "Then I'll have to trouble you, Dr. Dawson." Clara's taste was unique. She immediately spotted a modern, Chinese-style suit. In the streets of London, finding something with a touch of home so easily stirred a sense of nostalgia in both of them. "How about this one? I'll try it on." When Reese emerged from the fitting room, it was a breathtaking sight. The suit accentuated his natural elegance and dignified air. The man's maturity and stability were irresistible. Clara was surprised to find that Reese's suit perfectly complemented her cheongsam. If they attended the ball like this, wouldn't people misunderstand? "Does it look good?" Seeing her silence, Reese thought it didn't look good. He looked in the mirror and found it rather nice. "No, it looks great." Clara couldn't bring herself to lie, especially since he looked incredibly handsome. "Then I'll take this one." "Sir, miss, you two are truly a handsome couple, a match made in heaven." As they left, the store clerk couldn't help but praise them. Clara increasingly regretted buying that cheongsam. "Does it bother you, Dr. Dawson?" Reese sensed her hesitation and couldn't help but ask. Did she hate being mistaken as a couple with him? "I'm worried it might bother Dr. Donovan." She herself didn't mind, but Reese was the unattainable flower in many hearts. She couldn't ruin his chances of finding a girlfriend. "Then it's fine, let's go." The ball started at 6 in the evening. Clara did some simple makeup, her long hair in a half-up bun, adorned with a magnolia hairpin. When she went out, Reese was already waiting for her downstairs. Seeing her, Reese's eyes lit up with admiration. He had mostly seen Clara in her white coat, her hair simply tied back. This elegant and beautiful version of her was a rare sight. "Dr. Donovan, let's go." "Okay." Reese tore his gaze away and followed her. The ballroom was crowded. As soon as Reese and Clara appeared, they became the center of attention. The director personally came to greet them, but with him was Julian. Seeing Julian, the smile on Clara's face vanished. "What are you doing here?" Reese also frowned. This guy was like a ghost haunting them. "Didn't the director tell you? This ball is being held for me." From the moment Clara entered, Julian's eyes had been fixed on her. He had forgotten when he had last seen Clara dressed up like this. This twilight blue cheongsam suited her perfectly, but the wedding dress from that day would have suited her even more. If she hadn't run away from the wedding, they might have been married by now. "For you," Clara was surprised. How could everything be related to Julian? "I invested $50 million in the hospital where you're doing your fellowship. Can't you see how much the director respects me?" Julian raised an eyebrow, his face full of pride. Seeing him like this, Clara felt a surge of anger. She turned to leave, but Julian grabbed her. "Are you leaving already? Aren't you going to give the director some face?" Julian was right. With the director here, she couldn't just leave. "Fine, I won't go, I'll stay." The director asked Clara if Julian was her boyfriend and if the first dance of the evening should be with him. Clara was dumbfounded. She had come tonight as Reese's partner. Before she could finish, Julian had already made a gesture of invitation. The director kept urging her to agree. Clara had no choice but to look at Reese. "Dr. Donovan, I'm sorry." "It's okay," Reese smiled. "I'll wait for you for the second dance." He had waited this long, he wasn't in a hurry. The ball began, and a graceful waltz filled the hotel. Julian led Clara onto the dance floor, his face filled with triumph. Seeing his expression, Clara wanted to punch him. "Julian, wasn't I clear enough that day? I said, we've broken up." "I know." The man's thin lips curved into a heart-stopping smile, but Clara felt nothing. "I'm not trying to get you back right now. I'm just trying to win you over again." Julian's words left Clara speechless. She hadn't known he could be so persistent. "Then you don't have to. I'm telling you, it's hopeless. I'm never getting back with you." "Why? Give me a reason." "Unless you tell me you have someone else in your heart." Clara knew that if she didn't name someone today, Julian wouldn't give up. Her gaze shifted to Reese, who was sitting not far away, sipping red wine with a blank expression. A few foreign women had already gathered around him. It seemed they had their eyes on Reese. Clara blinked and without missing a beat told Julian, "Yes, I'm in love with someone else. You can give up now." "What did you say?" Julian frowned, his face darkening. Even his dance steps became clumsy. "Say it again." "I'm in love with someone else, Julian. I don't love you anymore. Did you hear me clearly?" Just as the dance ended, Clara pulled away from him and walked quickly towards Reese. Before Reese could react, Clara had already taken his hand and linked her arm with his. "Julian, listen carefully. I'm in love with Reese. Reese is my boyfriend now. You don't have a chance, ever." After saying that, Clara thought she might as well kiss Reese to make Julian completely give up. She stood on her toes, about to kiss him, but Reese had already bent down and kissed her lips. The moment their lips met, Clara's eyes widened. The surrounding air grew still, so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Clara hadn't expected Reese to kiss her. Her heart was in a turmoil. "What are you doing? Clara, do you know what you're doing?" Julian pulled her away, his handsome face contorted with anger. Reese smoothly pulled Clara into his embrace, his expression unreadable as he told Julian, "Mr. Marshall, I think there are some things you need to be clear about. I am Clara's boyfriend now. If you continue to harass her, I will not be polite." It was the first time Clara had seen Reese so assertive. But for some reason, being protected by him, she felt a strange sense of security. "I'd like to see what Dr. Donovan can do to me." Julian took a step forward, his tone hostile. The two men stared at each other, sparks flying between them. "Do you know that with just one word, I can make you disappear from the entire medical world?" Julian's threat angered Clara. "Julian, don't go too far. This is between us. It has nothing to do with Reese. You're not allowed to touch him." Seeing her defend him, Julian's anger intensified. "You're already protecting him?" "Yes, he's my boyfriend. Of course I have to protect him. Clara, you talk about me and Leela, but what about you? We only broke up a few days ago, and you're already with him. Weren't you and Reese already hooking up behind my back?" The moment he said it, Clara raised her hand and slapped him across the face. "Julian, you've disappointed me so much." Clara hadn't expected that Julian would one day stoop to slinging mud at her. Her heart ached, more than when she had seen him being ambiguous with Leela. A breakup should be clean. She wanted to part on good terms, but he wouldn't let her. The slap brought Julian to his senses. He realized what he had said and grabbed Clara's hand. "I'm sorry, Clara. I didn't mean that. I was just so angry, that's why I said it. You're my girlfriend, we've been together for 7 years. How can you just turn around and be with another man? You can be with another woman, so of course I can be with another man." Clara was tired. She turned to Reese and said, "Reese, let's go." Reese nodded. As he left, he said to Julian, "Mr. Marshall, you just said you were going to make me disappear from the medical world. I'd like to see how you're going to do that." Julian watched their departing figures, his hawk-like eyes narrowing. To make such a claim, it seemed Reese was no simple man. The farce of a ball ended on a sour note. As Julian left, he didn't notice a woman standing in the shadows at the edge of the party. Her gaze, fixed on Clara, was filled with a destructive hatred. Leaving the ball and breathing in the fresh air, Clara finally felt better. Thinking back to Julian's harsh words, she felt a pang of worry. "Dr. Donovan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use you. I just didn't know what else to do, so it's okay." A charming smile graced Reese's lips. "I actually prefer it when you call me Reese. Dr. Donovan feels a bit distant." Clara didn't understand what he meant, but seeing his earnest expression, her heart skipped a beat. Reese was undeniably handsome. A man so gentle and refined, yet so polite, was a rare catch. How many women could resist his charm? If it were one of the young nurses at the hospital, they would probably have devoured him by now. I mean, if we're going to convince Julian we're a couple, our terms of address can't be so formal. I'll call you Clara, and you can just call me Reese. Oh, okay. Clara realized she had been overthinking things. He was just trying to help her, but why did she feel a little disappointed? Reese, I'm a bit worried. Julian always means what he says. If he said he'll make you disappear from the medical world, he'll do it. She couldn't let Reese's future be ruined because of her. It'll be fine. Don't worry. Reese, on the other hand, wasn't concerned at all. Are you hungry? Want to get something to eat? Yes, of course she was hungry. She hadn't eaten anything at the ball and was fuming. I'll take you to eat. At a Chinese restaurant, the owner was about to close, but seeing Reese and Clara, immediately came over with a menu. What would you two like to eat? These, please. And 2 bowls of rice. Reese took some hot water and carefully cleaned Clara's bowl and chopsticks before handing them to her. Seeing his actions, Clara smiled. I didn't know you were so meticulous. I often see you do this when we eat out together. Clara raised an eyebrow, surprised. It was true. When she ate out with her colleagues, she always made a habit of cleaning the utensils first. She hadn't realized Reese had noticed. The owner was quick. The food arrived, and Clara saw that they were all her favorite dishes. These dishes, you like these, don't you? Reese put some green pepper and potato stir-fry into her bowl. You must be hungry, eat up. How do you know what I like to eat? Clara's heart suddenly started to beat very fast. Why did she feel that Reese was different towards her? You always order these dishes whenever we eat out. How would I not know? Reese's casual tone made Clara feel like she was overthinking things again. After they finished eating, Clara felt much better. The two of them left the restaurant and walked side by side through the streets of London. It was a bit cold. Clara couldn't help but sneeze. Reese immediately took off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. Clara was really cold, so she didn't refuse. The moon was beautiful tonight. Someone was playing the violin on the street, the melody enchanting. As they were immersed in the beautiful night, someone suddenly rushed out from the shadows and grabbed Clara. Ah, Reese! Clara was caught off guard and dragged into a car. Clara, Reese reacted quickly, grabbing her arm. Just as he was about to pull her back, someone hit him hard with a bat. The next second, he lost consciousness. Before he passed out, he heard 2 men's voices. What do we do? There's an extra one. We don't need the man, just take the woman. Forget it, let's just take them both. Maybe Miss Hayes will give us double the money. When Clara woke up, she was tied to a bed. Reese was lying on the carpet. The large room was empty except for her and Reese. She struggled, but her hands and feet were tied tightly. She couldn't move, and she noticed that there were surveillance cameras all over the ceiling. A bad feeling crept over Clara. She called out to Reese. Reese, wake up, Reese! The man on the floor finally stirred. Then he opened his eyes. The image of Clara being hit and dragged away was still fresh in his mind. He called out worriedly, Clara, are you okay? I'm fine, but I'm tied to the bed. Reese scrambled to his feet, but his head was spinning, and his body was burning hot, an unbearable heat. He staggered over to Clara. He saw that not only were her hands and feet tied, but her clothes had been half torn off, revealing her fair skin. The sight made him even more parched. He bent down, trying to untie the ropes, but he couldn't muster any strength. After a great deal of effort, he finally managed to untie her hands. When he tried to untie her feet, he felt so hot he thought he was going to explode. Reese frowned. He realized he might have been drugged. And the purpose of the drug was all too obvious. Reese, are you okay? Seeing his flushed face and the beads of sweat on his forehead, Clara reached out to touch him. The moment she did, the strap of her dress slipped off her shoulder, revealing her alluring, smooth skin. Reese's blood rushed to his head, and he stumbled back a few steps. Don't touch me. What's wrong with you? Realizing her clothes had been torn, Clara quickly got up and straightened them. After she was dressed, she tried to help Reese up, but he backed away, keeping his distance. Stay away, I think I've been drugged. Drugged? Clara was shocked. You mean that kind of drug? Damn it, who would do this to them? Yes. So don't come near me, stay away from me. Reese was in agony. Every second with Clara was a torment. He stumbled to the door, trying to open it, but it was locked, bolted from the outside. He couldn't budge it. Seeing him drenched in sweat, Clara was scared and worried. She knew that being drugged like this could make a person lose their mind. She was an adult, not some old-fashioned prude. But she and Reese were just colleagues. She couldn't do something like that. Besides, the room was full of cameras. She knew that whoever had kidnapped her had ill intentions. If a video was released online, her life would be ruined. "Reese, what should I do? How can I help you? It's okay, don't be scared, Clara. I won't hurt you." Even in this state, Reese could still maintain a sliver of rationality. He stumbled into the bathroom and immediately locked the door. "What are you doing? Reese, are you going to just endure it?" Clara was panicked. She didn't want to see him suffer like this. "It's okay, it'll pass. Clara, don't worry." The sound of the faucet turning on came from the bathroom. The moment the cold water hit Reese, he felt a little better. He didn't know how long he had soaked in the cold water, but he finally suppressed his desire. He was completely clear-headed and sober. Clara was leaning against the door, listening to the sounds inside, already crying her eyes out. The moment Reese opened the door, Clara threw herself at him without a second thought. "Are you okay, Reese?" Seeing her cry, Reese's heart ached. He reached up and wiped the tears from her eyes. "I'm fine, silly C. I'm perfectly fine." Clara sniffled, her tears still falling like broken pearls. She had been so scared that Reese would die. She would have felt guilty for the rest of her life. Seeing him soaked to the bone, Clara grabbed a bath towel and wrapped it around him. "I don't know who would kidnap us. Could it be?" The image of Julian flashed in her mind, but it was impossible. He wouldn't do something like this. The next second, the door was pushed open, and the woman who walked in made Clara's eyes widen in disbelief. Leela. How could she have thought that Leela would suddenly appear in London, and that she would be the one to kidnap her and Reese? What a useless man. Such a good opportunity, and you didn't even take it. I even spent a fortune on that drug. Leela swaggered in, followed by a few burly men. Seeing her, Reese immediately pulled Clara behind him. "Miss Hayes, if you have a problem, direct it at me." So it really was her. The words he had heard before he passed out were real. Oh, how touching. Too bad Julian can't see this. If he knew that the woman he was so desperate to marry was in a hotel room, being all lovey-dovey with another man, what would he think? "What do you want?" The Leela in front of her was completely different from the innocent girl she had once known. If it weren't for her face, she wouldn't have believed that this was the same Leela who had always followed Julian around, so weak and always playing cute. How could she have changed so much in just a few days? "What do I want?" "You'll find out soon enough." Leela flicked her fingers, and two of the burly men immediately grabbed Clara and threw her onto the bed. "Don't touch her." The moment Reese spoke, the other two men had already grabbed him. Leela looked at the scene with satisfaction, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Dr. Donovan, I gave you a chance. You were the one who didn't take it. Don't blame me. If you don't want her, there are plenty of others who do." With that, she walked to the bed and lifted Clara's chin. Such a beautiful face, so pure and unattainable. "Tell me, if I were to find someone to ruin your face and your innocence, do you think Julian would be heartbroken?" "You're insane." Clara looked at Leela in disbelief. "Do you know what you're doing? This is illegal. You'll go to jail. Let them catch me first." Leela laughed. "This is a foreign country. Do you think I'll be caught so easily? Do you know how many incidents like this happen here every day? Do you know how much they paid me? $100,000. Seeing Leela's crazed expression, Clara shook her head. "You're truly insane. If Julian finds out about this, he'll never forgive you." "That's right. I forgot to tell you. That $100,000 was a gift from Julian. Isn't it ironic? He gave me $100,000 just to get rid of me. What does he take me for?" Leela became agitated and slapped Clara across the face. Her strength was immense. Blood immediately trickled from the corner of Clara's mouth, and her cheek swelled up. "Leela, don't touch her if you have a problem. Come at me." Seeing Clara get hit, Reese wanted to rush over, but he was held back. "Dr. Donovan, don't be in such a hurry. The best is yet to come." Leela took out a sharp dagger and began to trace it over Clara's face. "Tell me, what kind of pattern would look good? Should I start on the left or the right?" A devilish smile spread across her lips. "Clara, this might hurt a little. You have to be quiet, or someone might hear you." With that, she raised her hand, about to strike, when Reese pushed the two men away and rushed over, shielding Clara with his body. Leela's hand came down and the dagger plunged into Reese's back. The pain was immense, but Reese didn't even make a sound. Blood stained his back, the scent of it filling the air. Clara looked at Reese, who was protecting her, and tears streamed down her face. Reese, how did I stab the wrong person so boring? Leela threw the dagger aside and shouted, "Come here and pull him off her this white bedsheet, stained with blood. What bad luck." Two large men rushed forward again and dragged Reese away. The blood left a trail, a shocking sight. Clara shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Leela, don't hurt Reese. If his blood keeps flowing like this, he'll die. You're still worried about someone else? Leela sneered. Worry about yourself. Since he took a stab for you, I'll spare your face. She stepped back, and a large man immediately moved forward, pushing Clara onto the bed. Looking at the man, who was at least twice her size, Clara's fear reached its peak. No, don't, she scrambled back, trying to escape, but the man grabbed her by the ankle. Where are you going, beauty? Let me love you. No, Leela, you can't do this, Clara cried out in fear. The more she cried, the more excited Leela became. Can't I? That's not for you to decide. I paid them, and they're not the type to take money and not do the job. Enjoy it, Clara. You ruined my life, and I won't let you have a good one either after today. Let's see if Julian still wants you. Leela, if you dare to touch her, I'll make you wish you were dead, Reese threatened, looking at the clock on the wall. His men were almost here, but Leela paid no attention to his words. Dr. Donovan, what can you do? You're not even as good as Julian. Don't threaten me. I'm being nice to you, letting you watch for free, Leela sneered. Do it, what are you waiting for? As she spoke, the man's large hand ripped Clara's clothes. No, don't come near me, let go of me. Clara was shaking with fear. Just as the man was about to touch her, the door was suddenly kicked open. Stop, everyone, put your hands up. Along with several men, the police rushed in. Seeing the police, Leela was completely stunned. She turned to run, but was immediately tackled to the ground by an officer. Everybody stop, don't move, get down. The man immediately released Clara. Reese rushed over and wrapped Clara tightly in a blanket. Reese, I'm so scared. Clara clung to Reese, terrified. Just now, she had been thinking that if she was really going to be defiled by those men, she would just die. It's okay now, don't be afraid. Reese's anxious heart also settled. He gently patted her back, and after a few words of comfort, several men came over. Young Master Donovan, we're sorry we're late. You know you're late? Reese glanced at them, and they immediately lowered their heads and knelt on the ground. We're sorry, it won't happen again. Why are the police here? Reese's tone and his serious expression were something Clara had never seen before. And what did those men just call him? Young Master? Wasn't Reese just an ordinary doctor? Why would he be called Young Master? We just arrived when the police showed up. Someone must have reported it. Go, Reese said, and the men immediately retreated. As they left, one of them asked, Young Master, the old madam is asking when you will be returning. I'll go back when I've taken care of things here. And you're back. It's nothing, just a minor injury. Yes, sir. The men nodded and quickly left. Clara's hands, which were clinging to him, were stained with blood. Before she could ask if he was in pain, she saw Julian rush in. When he saw Leela, his face instantly darkened. Leela, it really was you. Are you crazy? Do you know what you're doing? Heth, Julian, it was you who called the police. Seeing Julian, Leela completely broke down. Julian, I hate you. I hate you. Why? Why did you do this to me? What did I do wrong for you to treat me like this? Faced with her breakdown, Julian ignored her. He saw Clara, huddled in Reese's arms and the blood on the floor, and his brow furrowed tightly. Clara, are you okay? He reached out, wanting to touch her, but she shied away. I'm fine. No need for Mr. Marshall's concern. Seeing her avoid him, Julian's heart ached. In the past, if she encountered something frightening, she would have immediately thrown herself into his arms. But now, the man holding her was someone else. Mr. Marshall, you were the one who called the police. Yes. I waited for you two at your door last night for a long time. When you didn't come back, I had someone investigate and found out that Leela had come to London. My people also found out that she had used a large sum of money to hire some people from the underworld. I guess she might do something harmful to Clara, so I called the police. After speaking, Julian looked at Reese with a probing gaze. Reese, on the other hand, who were those men who just came in? And who are you, really? Who I am is none of your business. Reese picked Clara up in his arms. She was worried he was in pain. I can walk on my own. I'm fine. Reese gently soothed her, then turned to Julian. Mr. Marshall, you should focus on how to clean up the mess you've made. Luckily, nothing happened to Clara today. If something had, I think you and I, Mr. Marshall, would be enemies for life. With that threat, Reese left without looking back. Julian wanted to stop him, but he couldn't find the courage. Until the two figures disappeared, he turned to look at the woman being held down by the police. In just a few days, Leela had completely changed. In his memory, she was just a simple-minded little girl. Why had she gone to the extent of hiring someone to harm another person? Leela, why did you do this? And you, Julian, why did you do this to me? I was almost beaten to death. I told you, asked you to come see me, but you wouldn't. All you could think about was your Clara. You never had me in your heart. If you never had me, why did you lead me on? I told you, I only see you as a sister. Julian sighed. He was to blame for everything that had happened today. He couldn't blame anyone else. When Leela had just started university, he had met her. For so many years, she had always been kind and innocent. For her to become like this, he bore a great responsibility. Take her back to our country, have someone watch her, and don't let her cause any more trouble. Julian, I'll never forgive you, never. I curse you, that you'll never find happiness. Reese is a much better man than you. He's the one destined to be with Clara. Leela was dragged away, still cursing Julian as she went. Her words echoed in Julian's ears. He clenched his fists, his face a mask of misery. At the hospital, the doctors examined Clara and found she was mostly fine, with some minor cuts and bruises, and was emotionally shaken. Reese, on the other hand, had been affected by the drug, and the stab wound on his back was not shallow. But he refused to rest in bed, insisting on staying by Clara's side. The doctors couldn't do anything about it. When have you ever seen Dr. Donovan so attentive to a girl? He's injured himself and won't even lie down properly. Yeah, for the first time. It seems this girl is special to Dr. Donovan. Does this mean we'll be drinking to Dr. Donovan's wedding soon? Clara had a restless sleep. The face and eyes of the burly man kept replaying in her mind. She woke up with a start, only to find someone holding her hand. When she calmed down, she saw Reese dozing by her bed. The noise woke the man. He rubbed his eyes. You're awake. Looking at the man's angelically handsome face, Clara's heart stirred. Are you okay? I'm fine. How are you? Are you uncomfortable anywhere? The concern in the man's eyes made Clara's mind go blank for a moment. Reese's eyes were as deep as the sea, but the love in them was so obvious. Clara knew she wasn't mistaken this time. Reese really liked her. Reese, why are you so good to me? Let's discuss this after you're discharged. Reese tucked her in. As he straightened up, a sharp pain shot through his back. I want to know now. Clara looked at him and asked, word by word, do you, like me? The moment she asked, the air seemed to freeze. Reese looked at her, a hint of determination flashing in his deep eyes. Yes, I like you, I have for a long time. Clara's heart skipped a beat. She wanted to know the answer, but when he answered so bluntly, she was still a little flustered. A long time? 3 years ago, you saved a child having an asthma attack on the street. Do you remember? Clara nodded. She vaguely remembered something like that. She had saved him on her way to a hospital interview. After saving the child, she had left without leaving her name. In theory, no one should have known. I was there, I saw you. Reese smiled gently. Later, I saw you again at the hospital and found out we were colleagues. From that day on, I started paying attention to you. It's just that you had a boyfriend, so I never said anything. Clara blinked, her mind a blank. The unattainable flower that all the colleagues in the hospital admired had actually liked her for 3 years. The key was, how could she have been so clueless all these years, not noticing a thing? So, what do you think? Reese pressed, and Clara opened her mouth, not knowing how to answer. It's okay, take your time. Reese stood up. You should rest, I'll come see you later. He left. Watching his back, Clara's heart stirred unknowingly. After he left, Julian came. Seeing Julian again, Clara's emotions were no longer so agitated. Likewise, Julian had also calmed down. He had been standing at the door for a long time. He had heard everything Reese had said to Clara. He now knew that the person he hadn't cherished had been secretly loved by someone else for a long time. He regretted it, but it was too late. You're here. Yeah. Julian sat down beside her. I've had someone send Leela back to the country. His actions were within Clara's expectations. She had hoped Leela would go to jail. Everyone should pay for their actions. But she also knew that Julian wasn't a cold-blooded person. Leela had ended up this way because of him. He wouldn't be so cruel as to have Leela locked up in a foreign prison. "Clara, I'm here today to tell you that I'm returning to my country." Julian had finally let go. He deeply realized that Clara would never forgive him, never marry him. He had let go. "Okay, have a safe trip." Clara didn't say much else. 7 years, their 7-year relationship had finally come to an end. "I wish you happiness." It was time to part, but Julian didn't know what to say. There were 1,000 words he wanted to say, but when he saw Clara's face, they all turned into guilt. "When you get married, can you send me an invitation?" Julian's last request was a bit humble. Clara was stunned for a moment. Looking at his wounded expression, she couldn't refuse. "Okay. If you get married, remember to send me an invitation too." "I probably won't get married." Julian smiled, turned, and left. With every step, he seemed to hear his heart breaking. From today on, he and Clara had truly nothing to do with each other. Julian left, and Clara's life returned to normal. She still studied medicine every day, often attending lectures, writing papers, and improving herself. Reese naturally did the same. They went to and from work together, ate together, and walked together. 2 years later, they finally got together. 3 years passed. Both of them returned home, having completed their studies. When they returned, they had gone from being distant to being intimate. The moment they appeared at the airport, hand in hand, the entire hospital was abuzz. "Wow, Dr. Dawson, Dr. Donovan, I can't believe you two are together. When are you getting married? Our hospital has another happy event, a perfect match, a match made in heaven." The director was also very happy, overjoyed to the point of tears. Reese held Clara's hand tightly. "We came back this time to get married. So happy I'm going to cry." Faced with everyone's blessings, Clara smiled happily. But standing on this land again, everything about Julian came flooding back like a tide. 3 years. She wondered how he was doing now. Reese took Clara home. It wasn't until the car stopped in front of a huge mansion that Clara realized Reese's background was not simple. Reese's mother liked Clara very much. When they met, she immediately put a multi-million-dollar emerald bracelet that had been passed down for generations on her wrist. "Clara, Reese is a straight-laced guy. He doesn't know how to please women. If he ever does anything to make you angry, you must tell me. I'll stick up for you," Reese's sister also said. "Yes, sister-in-law. We've been waiting for 6 whole years to finally welcome you home." Clara touched the bracelet on her wrist, her heart filled with warmth. "Thank you, Mrs. Donovan." "Still calling me Mrs. Donovan?" "Mom." Clara shyly changed her address. Reese's mother clapped her hands happily. "Oh, I've been waiting to hear that for so long." It was only then that Clara knew that the entire Donovan family knew about Reese's feelings for her. They had all been waiting for the day Reese could bring her home. The wedding invitations were handwritten by Reese. He had beautiful calligraphy, writing with a skilled hand. He said that invitations had to be handwritten to be sincere. Clara sat beside him, grinding the ink for him. When he was almost done, Reese took out another one and wrote Julian's name on it. Seeing the name, Julian Marshall, Clara felt as if she were in a different lifetime. "I remember Julian said that if you got married, he hoped you would send him an invitation." After writing, he handed the invitation to Clara. "Whether you give it to him or not, it's up to you." Reese was like that. He always respected Clara and never interfered with her decisions. She nodded. "Okay, I understand." Clara arranged to meet Julian at a coffee shop. It was a place they used to frequent. She hadn't been back in so long, but the coffee here still tasted the same. When Julian arrived, he saw Clara sitting by the window. 3 years. She had hardly changed. If anything, her aura was even more ethereal. She was dressed professionally, exuding a relaxed confidence. Seeing her, Julian couldn't suppress his excitement. He walked quickly over and sat down in front of her. He was so excited he couldn't speak. He wanted to ask her how she had been all these years, if she was still with Reese. He even wanted to know if he still had a chance. But Clara just smiled faintly at him. "Long time no see, Julian. Long time no see. How have you been?" He was nervous, his palms sweaty. "I've been well. I remember 3 years ago, you told me that if I got married, I had to give you an invitation." With that, she took an invitation from her bag and handed it to him. "I'm delivering it to you in person now. Doesn't that give you a lot of face?" Seeing the bright red invitation, Julian's heart sank. She was getting married. She was really getting married. You're getting married? He reached out to take it, his whole body trembling. Yes. I'm not getting any younger. It's time to get married. She took a sip of her coffee. It tasted wonderful. That's great. Julian opened the invitation and saw Reese's name, so she was really going to marry Reese. The woman he had loved for 10 years was going to marry another man. It's about time. I have to go. Clara stood up. Julian tried to keep her. Can't you stay a little longer? They hadn't seen each other in so many years. He really missed her. Why didn't she ask him anything? Like how he was doing? If he had a girlfriend? If he was married? Why didn't she ask anything, as if she were meeting a stranger? Next time, my fiancé is here to pick me up. Clara smiled and waved at a man standing by a luxury car outside. Julian followed her gaze and saw Reese. The woman ran to Reese's side like a little rabbit. The sun was setting. Clara bent down and got into the car. The car sped away, taking Clara with it and also taking Julian's long, unsettled heart. He looked down at the invitation in his hand, and his mind drifted back to 3 years ago. The day they had tried on wedding dresses. The moment the woman in the pure white dress had opened the curtain of the fitting room, Julian had felt like he owned the whole world. But in just 3 short years, his world was gone. He clenched the invitation in his hand and whispered, "Clara, will you marry me in the next life?"